Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel. Hi, Jessica. I feel like today's topic is a hopeful one.
I agree. Today we're talking about the future and how to talk about it in simple, natural English.
Because the future isn't only about big life plans, it's also about this weekend, next month, or something you quietly hope for someday.
So let us ask you, what are you looking forward to right now?
Think about it as you listen. And if you enjoy learning with us, don't forget to follow the podcast and join our community. Okay, Jessica, let's start with something very real. When people hear the future, they sometimes think it sounds big or even stressful.
That's true. Some learners immediately imagine life-changing decisions, like careers or moving to another country.
But the future isn't only about those huge moments.
Exactly. Most of the time, we talk about the future in very small, everyday ways.
Like when someone asks, "What are you doing this weekend?"
Or, do you have any plans for tonight? Those are future questions too.
And they come up all the time, at work, with friends, even with strangers.
That's why this topic is so important for English learners. You don't need advanced vocabulary, you just need clear, simple language.
Right. And here's the good news. You're probably already using future language without realizing it.
Yes, even saying, "I'm busy tomorrow" or "I'm free later" is talking about the future.
So today we want listeners to feel relaxed about this topic.
No pressure, no complicated rules at the beginning, just real examples.
Let's start with a very simple word. Plans.
I like that word. A plan is just something you decide before it happens.
It can be small, like meeting a friend for coffee.
Or bigger, like planning a trip or a project at work.
For example, I might say, "I have a plan to cook dinner at home tonight."
That means you already decided. You're not just thinking, you chose.
And you can also use it as a verb.
Right. You can say, "I'm planning to relax this weekend."
Notice how natural that sounds.
Very natural. And when we talk about plans, we often talk about feelings too.
Yes, especially excitement.
That's where phrases like "look forward to" come in.
When you look forward to something, you feel happy about the future moment.
Even if it's something small, like a quiet morning or a favorite meal.
For example, I really look forward to my morning coffee.
Same here. It's a tiny thing, but it makes the day feel good.
This is important for learners to hear.
Because future English isn't only about grammar, it's about sharing life.
Your routines, your hopes, your energy.
And when you talk about these things in English, you sound more human, not like a textbook.
So as you listen today, think about your own future.
Not the perfect future, just the real one.
One small thing you're planning.
Or one thing you're quietly looking forward to.
That's more than enough to start speaking naturally. Now that we've talked about plans in general, Jessica, I think it's time to help our listeners express how sure they feel about those plans.
Yes, because not all future ideas feel the same. Some feel very clear, and some feel a little fuzzy.
Exactly. And English is great at showing that difference.
Let's start with something simple. Sometimes you decide something very clearly.
Like, I'm meeting my friend for lunch tomorrow.
Right. That sounds definite. It feels settled.
But other times you're still thinking.
You haven't made a final decision yet.
And that's where learners often feel stuck.
Yes, because they think they must sound 100% sure.
But real life doesn't work that way.
And real English doesn't either.
For example, if I say, "I might go for a walk later."
That tells me you're considering it, but you're not promising.
Exactly. Maybe the weather will be nice, maybe it won't.
Might is very friendly English. It leaves space.
Another useful word is probably.
I like that one. It sits in the middle.
Yes, if I say, "I'll probably stay home tonight."
It means you're almost sure, but not completely.
Maybe a friend will call and change your plan.
And that's okay.
English lets you be honest about that uncertainty.
There's also a phrase learners really need: make up your mind.
Ah, yes, that moment when thinking stops.
And choosing begins.
You might say, "I haven't made up my mind yet."
That sentence is incredibly useful,
It tells people you're still deciding.
and it sounds very natural and polite.
Another phrase I love is have in mind.
Me too. It's perfect for ideas that are not plans yet.
For example, I have a movie in mind, but I'm not sure.
Or, do you have any places in mind for dinner?
You're opening the conversation.
You're inviting ideas, not closing the door.
That's an important communication skill.
Especially in English, where sounding flexible is often appreciated.
So listeners, remember this.
You don't need to sound certain all the time.
Use might, probably. Haven't made up my mind.
And have in mind to match how you really feel.
When your language matches your feeling,
Your English starts to sound natural and confident.
after talking about certainty and uncertainty, I think this is a good moment to help our listeners feel calmer about grammar.
I agree because many learners start to worry as soon as they hear words like future tense or grammar rules.
Yes, they often think they need to memorize everything before they can speak.
But in real life, native speakers don't think that way when they talk about the future.
Exactly. We usually choose words based on the situation and how we feel at that moment.
Let's talk about one very common word, will.
Will often appears when a decision is made right now during the conversation.
For example, if your phone rings and you say, "I'll answer it," the decision happens instantly.
You didn't plan it earlier, but the situation pushed you to decide.
Will is also useful when we make guesses about what we think will happen.
Like saying, I think it will rain later, based on the clouds in the sky.
Now, let's compare that with going to, which feels a little different.
Going to usually connects to plans that already existed before the conversation started.
For example, if you decided yesterday to visit a friend, you might say, "I'm going to see her this weekend."
The decision is not new, so the language sounds more prepared.
This difference is helpful, but learners should not feel stressed about choosing perfectly.
Yes, because even if you mix them up sometimes, people will still understand you.
Communication is always more important than perfect grammar.
Another important point is that English gives you freedom.
You can say the same idea in different ways, and they all sound acceptable.
Over time, your ear will learn which form sounds more natural in each situation.
That happens through listening, not memorizing rules from a book.
So instead of stopping yourself to think too much, try to keep speaking.
Trust that your brain is learning in the background.
When learners relax, their English often improves faster.
Yes, because confidence helps fluency grow.
So if you're listening right now and thinking, this sounds confusing,
Just remember that you don't need to master everything today.
start with simple sentences and real situations from your life.
With time, talking about the future will feel natural and comfortable.
Now that learners feel a bit more relaxed about grammar, I think we can show them how English sounds when plans are already fixed.
That's a great idea because fixed plans come up very often in real conversations.
Yes, especially when we talk about meetings, trips, or things that are already scheduled.
In those situations, English speakers often use the present continuous to talk about the future.
That can surprise learners at first, because it looks like the present tense.
But the meaning is clear when we add time words like tomorrow, next week, or in March.
For example, if I say, I'm meeting my manager tomorrow afternoon,
It sounds very clear and very definite.
it tells the listener that the plan is already arranged.
Maybe the time is fixed, or another person is involved.
Exactly, and that makes the plan feel strong and reliable.
Another example could be, "I'm flying to Singapore next Monday."
When you hear that, you imagine a ticket, a date, and preparation.
It feels different from saying, "I might fly to Singapore."
Yes, the level of certainty changes the feeling of the sentence.
This is why the present continuous is so useful for future plans.
It helps you sound organized without using complicated grammar.
Learners do not need to force this structure into every sentence.
They can simply notice when plans feel fixed and use it naturally.
Listening to examples is one of the best ways to learn this.
Over time, your brain starts to recognize the pattern automatically.
And you stop translating in your head.
Another good thing about this form is that it sounds very natural in daily speech.
Native speakers use it all the time without thinking about rules.
So learners should not be afraid to try it.
Even if the sentence is not perfect, the message will be clear.
And clarity is always more important than accuracy at the beginning.
So if you have a meeting, a class, or a trip already planned,
try using the present continuous to talk about it.
It can help you sound confident and comfortable.
And it connects nicely with what we talked about earlier.
Yes, because it shows another way English expresses certainty about the future.
So far, we've talked about short plans and fixed appointments, and I think this is a good moment to move slightly forward in time.
Yes, not just this weekend or tomorrow, but the next few weeks or months.
This is where many learners start to feel unsure again, because plans feel bigger.
But actually, the language stays simple. What changes is the time frame, not the structure.
Exactly. Medium-term plans often feel more organized, but not completely finished.
There might be bookings, dates, or clear intentions, but also some flexibility.
Let me share a small story that shows this clearly. Last spring, I decided to take a short trip in early summer. I had already chosen the destination and booked a small hotel, so the trip felt real and exciting. At the same time, I hadn't planned every detail yet, like which places I would visit or how long I would stay each day. Even so, I kept telling people, I'm traveling in June because that part was already certain.
That's a great example because it shows how plans can be clear and unclear at the same time.
Yes, and English allows us to express that naturally.
When something is booked or arranged, we often sound more definite.
But when details are still open, we don't need to force certainty.
This is very helpful for learners because real-life plans are rarely perfect.
Another common situation is talking about family events or seasonal activities.
Like weddings, short holidays, or projects at work.
You might know the month, but not the exact schedule yet.
And that's completely normal.
In these cases, learners can use language that feels prepared but relaxed.
For example, saying you're doing something in March or April.
It sounds natural and confident without giving too many details.
This helps conversations flow easily.
People understand that the plan exists, even if it's not perfect yet.
And that's an important communication skill, not just a grammar point.
So when you think about the next few months, try to describe what you already know.
You don't need to explain everything.
Just share the part that feels clear right now.
Over time, as your plans grow clearer, your language will naturally change too.
And that's exactly how real English works in everyday life. After talking about plans for the next few months, I think it makes sense to look even further ahead.
Yes, because many learners also want to talk about goals that don't have a clear date yet.
These are not weekend plans or booked trips.
They are more like long-term hopes or directions in life.
And the good news is English has very gentle language for that.
Exactly. You don't need to sound certain or detailed.
One very common phrase is I want to.
It's simple, honest, and very natural.
For example, I want to improve my English.
You're not saying when or how fast.
You're just sharing your intention.
Another useful phrase is I'd like to.
This one sounds a little softer and more polite.
Yes, it often feels more reflective.
You might say, I'd like to travel more in the future.
It sounds open and calm, not rushed.
There's also a lovely word learners enjoy using. Someday.
I really like that word.
Me too, because it removes pressure.
Someday means the future is open.
You don't need a date or a plan.
For example, someday I want to learn to play the piano.
That sentence feels hopeful, not stressful.
And it sounds very human.
Another phrase that fits well here is work toward.
Yes, because long-term goals often need time.
You don't arrive quickly.
You move slowly, step by step.
You might say, I'm working toward a career change.
Or, I'm working toward a healthier lifestyle.
These sentences focus on progress, not perfection.
And that's an important message for learners.
You don't need to sound finished or successful.
You only need to sound honest.
Long-term future language is not about promises.
It's about direction and motivation.
When learners use this kind of language, they connect English with real life.
And that makes learning more meaningful.
So if you're thinking about your future right now,
Try using simple phrases like I want to, I'd like to, or someday.
you don't need details, just start with the feeling.
That's often the best place to begin.
Before we move closer to the end of today's lesson, I think we should talk about something very real for many people. Plans that are still unclear.
Yes, because not every future plan comes with a clear date or a final decision.
And that can feel uncomfortable, especially for learners who think they must always sound confident.
But uncertainty is a normal part of life, and English has many polite ways to express it.
Exactly. You don't need to hide the fact that you're still deciding.
In fact, saying that something is not decided yet often sounds honest and relaxed.
Let me share a short story that shows this clearly. Last year, I planned a short vacation for autumn. I wanted to go somewhere quiet, but I hadn't chosen between the beach and the mountains. Every week, I checked my schedule and my budget, hoping things would become clearer. In the end, the plan stayed up in the air for a long time, and that was okay.
That story feels very familiar because many people experience plans like that.
Yes, and the key phrase there is up in the air.
When something is up in the air, it means there is no final decision yet.
The idea exists, but the details are missing.
Another very useful phrase in these situations is, it depends.
I use that one all the time.
It shows that your decision is connected to something else.
For example, time, money, or other people's schedules.
Saying, it depends, gives you space to stay flexible.
And it helps the listener understand that things might change.
That's important in real conversations.
Because when learners sound too certain, they sometimes feel trapped later.
Yes, they feel like they made a promise.
But uncertainty language removes that pressure.
You can also say, I haven't made up my mind yet.
That sentence is very useful and very polite.
It shows that you're thinking carefully.
And people usually respect that.
Another phrase learners like is, I'm still thinking about it.
That one sounds calm and natural.
All of these expressions help you match your language to your real situation.
And that's the goal of good communication.
Not sounding perfect, but sounding true.
So if your future plans feel unclear right now,
Don't worry, that's normal.
use English that reflects that feeling.
When your language matches your reality, your confidence grows naturally. After talking about uncertainty and plans that are still open, I think we should talk about something just as important: how the future makes us feel.
Yes, because the future is not only about schedules or decisions.
It's also about emotion, motivation, and energy.
Sometimes a small future moment can change how we feel today.
Exactly. And that's why phrases about the future are so powerful.
Especially phrases that show hope or something positive ahead.
Let me share a short personal story to explain this. During a very busy period at work, I felt tired almost every day, and the weeks felt long. What helped me was knowing that a quiet weekend was coming soon, even though I didn't have any big plans. I kept thinking about sleeping a little longer, reading a book, and slowing down. Having something simple to look forward to made the whole week feel easier.
That story really shows how the future can support us emotionally.
Yes, and notice that nothing exciting or expensive was involved.
It wasn't a big trip or a major event.
It was just rest and time.
This is important for learners to understand.
Because many people think future language is only for big dreams.
But everyday hopes matter just as much.
And English gives us simple phrases to express that.
One of the most useful ones is look forward to.
When you say you're looking forward to something, you're sharing a positive feeling.
You're not just giving information.
You're letting the listener feel your emotion.
For example, saying, I'm looking forward to the weekend.
Immediately tells people something about your state of mind.
Sounds human and relatable.
This kind of language helps conversations feel warmer.
And it helps learners connect English with real life.
Another important point is that what you look forward to can be very small.
It might be a meal, a walk, or a quiet evening.
Or even just finishing a difficult week.
When learners talk about these things in English,
They practice language and self-expression at the same time.
that makes learning more meaningful.
It also builds confidence because the sentences come from real feelings.
Not from memorized examples.
So if you're listening right now, think about your own week.
Ask yourself what you're looking forward to.
It doesn't need to be impressive.
It just needs to be real.
When you use English to talk about real hopes, even small ones,
The language starts to feel natural and personal.
and that's when learning truly begins to stick.
Something interesting happens when people listen to a long conversation like this.
What do you mean?
They often realize they already understand more than they expected,
Yes, especially with future English.
because we haven't really added anything complicated.
We've just used simple patterns again and again.
Exactly, and that's the point we want listeners to notice now.
Not to memorize rules, but to recognize familiar shapes in the language.
When plans are clear, the language sounds clear.
And when plans are uncertain, the language becomes softer.
English changes with your level of certainty.
That idea is much more useful than grammar labels.
For example, if something is already decided,
You might hear I'm going to or the present continuous.
those forms sound steady and confident.
They tell the listener that the plan exists in real life.
But when things are not fully decided,
Words like might, maybe, or probably appear naturally.
these words protect you from sounding too strong.
They give you flexibility.
Another thing learners may notice is repetition.
Yes, but it's helpful repetition.
The same ideas return in different situations.
Weekend plans, monthly plans, long-term goals.
The situations change, but the language stays familiar.
That's how natural learning works.
Your brain starts to connect meaning and form automatically.
And you stop translating sentence by sentence.
This is why listening is so powerful.
You hear how language flows instead of studying it in pieces.
Another important point is that you don't need perfect sentences.
Most real conversations are not perfect.
People pause, change their mind, or sound unsure.
And English allows that.
That should feel encouraging for learners.
Yes, because it means you don't need to wait until you feel ready.
You can start speaking with what you have.
Simple phrases, honest feelings, real situations,
Over time, those small pieces come together.
and your confidence grows quietly.
So if you're listening now and thinking,
I understand this, but I'm not sure I can say it.
that's completely normal.
Understanding always comes before speaking.
The key is gentle practice.
Use these patterns when you talk about your own life.
One plan, one hope, one small future thought.
That's enough to keep moving forward.
You know, Jessica, as we come to the end of this conversation, I keep thinking about how the future sounds less scary now. Thinking about how the future sounds less scary now.
I feel the same way. When we slow it down, the future becomes something you can talk about step by step.
Not as one big question, but as many small moments.
A plan for tomorrow, a hope for next month, or a dream that doesn't have a date yet. Or a dream that doesn't have a date yet.
And English gives you space for all of that.
Yes, space to be sure, unsure, or somewhere in between. Sure or somewhere in between.
I think that's an important message for learners.
You don't need perfect plans to use future English well.
You just need something real to talk about.
Even saying, I'm not sure yet, is good English.
Or I'm thinking about it, or I'll see how it goes.
Those sentences show real life, not textbook life.
And when learners allow themselves to speak that way,
Their English starts to sound more natural.
because it matches how they actually feel.
I also like how future language connects to motivation.
Yes, having something ahead of you can change today.
Even a small thing, like a quiet evening or a break.
When you talk about that in English,
You're not just practicing grammar.
You're practicing expressing yourself,
And that's a powerful skill.
especially for learners who often feel shy or unsure.
Using simple future phrases can help build confidence slowly.
One sentence at a time.
One honest thought at a time.
So as listeners finish this episode,
We don't want them to remember rules.
we want them to remember feelings.
The feeling that English can be calm and flexible.
The feeling that they are allowed to try.
And the feeling that their future thoughts matter.
So here's a small invitation for everyone listening.
Take a quiet moment later today.
Think about one thing ahead of you.
It can be very small or very big.
Say it out loud in English just for yourself.
No pressure, no audience.
And if you feel like sharing,
You're always welcome to learn along with us.
because learning is easier when it feels shared.
And the future feels brighter when you talk about it together.